These are the solutions for the review for the final test, questions 144 through 155. So these are dealing with functions, and I wrote down here what a function is. A function in short terms is just each domain has one range. So what's a domain? Well, domains are the x values, that's what it says here, and range values are the y values. So let's take a look at our problem up here. This is a relation. A relation is just a series of ordered pairs. It could be in different formats, like the series of ordered pairs here, or a mapping diagram, or a chart, or even a graph, or ordered pairs on a graph here as well. And so here we look at the domains, and you look for domains repeating. So if you see domains repeat, then they typically have different range values. So I look at this domain here, 2, -2, 6, and 8. They all are different domains. So that means each domain has one range. Each domain has one range, and therefore, and here's my little symbol for therefore, a function. So it is a function in this case. And so one thing you can think of as a function is that if you've got a soda machine here, and typically like a soda machine might have two large buttons for the type of soda that they really are advertising here. So if this is a Coke machine, they might have the two Coke buttons, but then they'll have these smaller buttons down here, and they might have different things like Sprite or Dr. Pepper or whatever. And so here's the little exit door that the Coke product comes out. And so if you press a button, you always should get the same drink. If you press the Coke button and you get a Sprite, then you know something's wrong. That would be like it not being a function. And if you have two Coke buttons, you can always get the same value. So the Coke button is just a domain value. And so when you push the button, then you're getting an output, and that's the range value. So think of it that way. So for instance, on this one here, notice that we have a domain of 6, 2, and 6. And then 5. See, this 6 repeats. So it's like pressing button number 6 and we get a 3. But here we press button number 6 and we get a -3. So right here, this makes it not a function. So we would say the domain 6 has 2 range values. And so we'll say, therefore, not a function. And so again, my little symbol here, this little 3 dots that make that triangle, just means therefore. Well, taking a look at this one, we have, these are our domains here. These are the ranges. See, it points to the range. These are inputs, and the range values are the outputs. And so we have 2 goes to 0, 3 goes to 0, 4 goes to 1. See, this is like having 2 buttons with the same exact value. It's like 2 Coke buttons. So you have button number 2 and button number 3. They're giving you the same product, and that's okay. That's a function still. So we'll say a function, it's a function, and the reason is each domain has one range, just one range value. Here, this is not a function. Right here is the reason why, because this domain here has 2 ranges. You press the button 10, and you either get a 2 or a 3. It's like pressing button number 10 and getting a Sprite, and pressing button number 10 again, you get a root beer, and that would not be, something's wrong there. They inputted something wrong, so that's not a function. So not a function, and the reason it's not a function is that the domain 10 has 2 ranges. This one here, we've got some inputs, and look for the inputs being different. 3, -2, 8, 3. These are right here. 3, 5, and 3, 4. It's pushing the button 3, you get 2 different answers. Push the button 3, I get 5. Push the button 3, I get 4. So not a function. And the reason it's not a function is because the domain 3 has 2 ranges. Well, taking a look at this, we've got a vertical line. A vertical line means that this is one domain with lots of different range values. So we would say not a function. a function. And the reason it's not a function is because the one domain has multiple ranges. And so what we're going to end up doing when we have a graph, we're going to use this idea of a vertical line test. And if we can pass a vertical line through, that is a domain. A vertical line is a domain. So this one domain only has one range. See, I can pass it through again and it has just one range. So this is a function, and the reason we can state is because it passes the vertical line test, and we'll just say VLT for that vertical line test. Let's write that down. VLT represents our vertical line test. So this one here, just pass a vertical line through and see if you can get it to cross more than one time. Nope, it just crosses one time. So yes, it's a function, and the reason is it's a function is it passes that vertical line test. This one here, you pass a line through and you see how that vertical line, it fails because this domain has two different ranges. So we'll say not a function, and the reasoning is that it fails vertical line test. This one will fail as well because when I pass that vertical line through, notice that it crosses in those three spots. So this one domain has three different ranges. And so this is not a function. And the reason it's not a function is that it fails that vertical line test. So this one will fail as well. Notice that I pass a vertical line through and it crosses twice. So that means this is not a function. And the reason it's not a function is that it fails the vertical line test. Well, here we just have dots. What would we do? Same thing. Use that vertical line test. See how I pass that vertical line through, and it's got those two different range values that are different for that one domain. So this is not a function. And the reason it's not a function is that it fails the vertical line test. So here they're asking us to find the domain and the range values of the function. So remember, these are your domains here, and then your range values are up top. Those are the y components of the ordered pair. And so all you're going to do is just list the domains from each of these points. So we'll start with that. We'll write domain, and I'll list these numbers. So like, for instance, the point here, you have to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is -4 here. So -4 right there. So -4 is one of the domains. This one's -2. This one's just -1 space over. Here we have 0 spaces over. Here we have 2 spaces over for this one. Here we have 3 spaces. And here we have, that's 3, 4, 5 spaces for this one. So you're just listing the x components of those ordered pairs. Well, for the range values, you're going to list the y components of those ordered pairs. So let's start with the lowest one here. So this one you have to go down 2 spaces, so -2. So -2 there. And then over here we have to go down just 1 space, so -1. And then here we have to go up 1 space. 2 of the values have just 1, so let's write 1. And then here we have to go up 1, 2, 3. 3 spaces up. So those are our different range values there. So there we have it, our domains and ranges. So remember, domains represent x values, ranges are y values. Well, those are the problems on the review for the final test.